Baby Beard Media. Shut up and take my podcast.
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 Shut up
and take my podcast.
Stereotypes. The foreigner. My customs are different. Upwards inflections.
Australian.
Your beer belly is so big, your door doesn't even close, and that doesn't even make sense.
The sentence ends well with, I got advice from Nixon.
We're a G-rated.
This is the problem. Are we? Drama podcast.
Trademark. License. Copyright.
Don't say those words.
Shut up and take my podcast.
Oh, hi everyone.
Hello.
We're back in the hot box today.
Yeah,
we
we
were getting
are.
cold weather for a while, but
No, it's hot.
It's the
It's
last gasp of the hot weather here in Oz.
hot as shit.
Yeah.
And we've all had really horrible last couple of days.
Oh my god. Just this today has been
Yeah.
hard.
Welcome everyone to Shut Up and Take My Podcast. That podcast where we talk about Futurama. I'm not doing the same intro as usual.
Yeah, mix it up. Mix
it up a
Yeah.
bit. So if you don't like it, just, you know what? Write us an intro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
right.
do it. We'll do it.
Write us any sort of intro. And
PG,
we will-
obviously.
we're
Okay,
past-
no.
we are
No, yeah,
past
so
that. We're
our
past that.
intro.
This, if you haven't seen us before or heard us before,
I
you've
was going
never
to say,
seen us before.
if you haven't seen us before, good, because I don't want to be stalked.
Yeah, we got faces for radio here.
We're going through Futurama one episode at a time. Tell your friends, tell your mum, tell Matt Groening. We'd love for him to see it.
Hear it.
Hear it.
Who are you?
God damn it.
Who are you?
I am Sean, and I'm joined here by Phil.
Hello.
And James.
Hello.
You always think I'm going for you first, James, don't you?
Yeah, well, you usually do.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm swapping
It's
everything
Phil's
up
turn,
today.
yeah.
I've been promoted to podcaster 34th class, I think.
Second,
Damn it.
to second man.
Been demoted. Damn it.
Which is a little cheeky segue into season 2, episode 11, how Hermes requisitioned his groove back.
Or how
yeah.
the outer space potato man got his groove back.
Tell us about who directed it and stuff.
Oh, I will. So we got Mark Irvin, who's back. He was the first director introduced in season 2 because we had our core group of people like Ken Keeler and
He was the first new person.
first new batch when they started experimenting with guys. So he's back for my second that emotion. And writer, I did a little cheeky lie. So Bill Odenkirk,
Oh yeah.
brother of Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, that's crazy.
Saul from Breaking Bad and Better
Really?
Call Saul.
Yeah, I mean, Bob Odenkirk's actually before that role. He was much more of a comedy guy anyway,
And
yeah.
a writer in his own right.
Yeah.
Both him and Bill wrote for Tenacious D.
Really?
Yeah. And Bill himself is now a current writer on The Simpsons as well. And apparently in this original run of Futurama, he was a producer and supervising producer for 59 of the first 72 episodes. So that encounters the original run, meaning the first 4 seasons.
Right.
Nice.
So
So
he's
he's quite prolific and engaged within that first original run, and then he fucks off and does Simpsons, apparently.
yeah. Okay.
So we got a bit of Odenkirk with us.
Awesome.
Introducing Morgan Proctor, who, if we don't know who the voice actor is, it's Nora Dunn. What she's famed for is SNL cast member.
Yeah.
In 1985, there's a famed SNL season which just went horribly wrong.
Oh, really?
Lorne Michaels came back and they brought through this whole new cast, or a whole bunch of cast members, which include Joan Cusack, Nora Dunn, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, right. Sounds good, but obviously not.
John Lovitz, Anthony Michael Hall, and Dennis Miller. It was critically slammed.
Oh, no.
It was meant to be shit at the end of a season. Pretty much all of the cast members were fired, except for 5, which included Nora Dunn.
Was it the acting or the writing?
It seemed to just be
It was
bunch
Robert
of
Downey
everything.
Jr.'s drug abuse.
Yeah,
You had a bunch of old Simpsons writers that were writing for it at the time. Lorne Michaels was brought back.
Just one of those
it just
things, I
didn't
guess.
seem to click.
So she's the actor playing Morgan is most famous for being in a dumpster season of
No,
SNL.
she survived.
She survived.
right.
She's a survivor. That's good.
She survived for a couple more seasons, and she's got a few notches under her belt.
Okay, cool.
Air date April 2nd, 2000, and we've also got the greatest introduction in Futurama history, Australian Man.
Australian man.
We
yeah.
got an Australian in there.
Is
It was
this
his
also-
Akubra and yeah.
Is this the first time we get Hermes' wife in?
No, La Barbara's come up. She just hasn't, because she first popped up, I think, in the Titanic episode. The name always escapes me.
But did
what
she
that
have
episode's called.
lines in the Titanic episode?
Flight to Remember,
Maybe
isn't it?
one. A Flight to Remember. Maybe one.
Okay.
She's always had just been more of a background
And was she
character.
called wife then as well? Husband, wife.
Does Hermes ever call her La Barbara?
I don't think is La Barbara even a name?
That's her name.
I know.
Yeah.
La Barbara Conrad.
I just when I was a kid, I just knew her as wife.
Yeah.
Look,
for
at the
sure.
moment, I think Barbados Slim has more lines than La Barbara has.
Yeah, that is probably true.
Yeah.
Because he's a
What?
man. So.
Ooh.
They're like, gotta give him lines.
Political.
Sorry.
That's the political alert sound you make?
Yeah.
Every
sounded
time?
a
Do I
lot
have to do
like...
that every time?
That sounds so much like when Obi-Wan Kenobi rocks up in A New Hope and he's like, "Ooh," and like all of a sudden people get scared and run away.
I'll go away from the mic because I think I just blasted someone's ear off.
Oh, dear.
So yeah, so this is how Hermes Requisitioned is grew back, which is from what, James?
I would say how Stella got her groove back, which was a film in the 1998.
With
Businesswoman
Whoopi.
Whoopi
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
It's a bit like a Fable kind of title as well, though. It's how the thingy got its
Yeah,
thingy. Like,
yeah. I think that's what they were playing.
How
on.
something got his something back.
Yeah.
That was apparently my Hermes. I'm sorry. We should get onto the plot.
This episode, obviously Hermes focused. It follows his quest to get promoted from level 36 to 35 because he's got an inspection coming up. Bender gets involved in a fight because he's cheating at poker and he hides in Hermes' office. It gets trashed. Hermes fails his inspection and gets demoted, so he goes on holiday to recover and is replaced by...
on paid vacation.
On paid
The
vacation.
worst thing.
The worst thing for a
kind of punishment.
postponed punishment for a bureaucrat. So he goes on vacation and Morgan from the bureaucracy, the central bureaucracy, takes over. She...
Number 19.
No, she's
Number
level
19.
19.
Grade 19.
Grade
Yeah.
19. So they go up, obviously. Sorry, they go down as they get promoted. So number one is the top.
That checks out.
1.0.
1.0 is the
You know,
the
a lot of
head
the writers
honcho.
are mathematicians and scientists, so they've got the numbering system down pat.
So yeah, Morgan, she becomes the bureaucrat for Planet Express. She falls for Fry because he's filthy.
Filthy, dirty boy.
And she finds out very kiki. Bender finds out. She wipes his memory and sends it to the central bureaucracy, so they have to recover his brain.
This episode, coming into it, I remember two things from it, which was the song, which we will get
Yeah.
into, and I am Bender, please insert girder.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just one of my favourite John DiMaggio Bender lines. I don't know why.
They use it quite nicely in the song
And
as
I
well.
feel like
right?
they, I guess this, like, as a kid, kind of introduced me to, like, it's like a cliche or a trope of a very clean-mannered, organized, almost shy person being this freak behind the...
Under
like,
the veneer?
Yeah, under the veneer. Like, this kind of, like, trope. I
I'd
would
say it's a trope,
Yeah,
right?
it's a trope.
Yeah. The repressed.
Yeah, the
repressed
like,
sexuality.
It's a
yeah,
paper
yeah.
pusher that's really a freak in
Yeah,
bed.
Yeah. And,
There's-
the,
I
and
think-
the thing that turns them on is the thing that's completely opposite.
Yes, yeah.
They're
I think this is
outwards.
the first time that I
And
got
that's-
introduced to that.
That's
Yeah.
played with even just physically, the whole cliche idea of the hair's up, but then behind doors the hair comes down and she's a beautiful woman. And
That-
she's
Yeah, that's the
sexy.
librarian trope. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It's like, oh, she's a nerd. Lets her hair down. Wow, she is a beauty. Like,
Yeah, well, you can tell when she's turned on because she's like one of her hairs
yeah,
from a
pop
fringe pops
The
out.
sexy curl.
Sexy curl. Yeah.
So what do we think? And full disclosure here, we have had a drink.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
It's okay. Look, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. We've had
4.
now it's 4, but at the time it was 2:30. We'd had horrible days. James asked me, "What do you have to drink?" I said, "Spiced rum."
Yeah, so we went for that.
Yeah.
We were meant to start recording at 1 today.
Oh, it's been a hellstorm.
So you're lucky to have us.
Yes.
It's a pretty good episode. I like Hermes. I have a soft spot
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
I find him charming and sweet, and just he makes me smile. So that helps a lot for me.
Yeah, the Hermes stuff is definitely more enjoyable than the Fry and 19 Bureaucrat. Like, it's enjoyable. Yeah, the whole, like, little scandal that's going on at the moment. But, like, I get more comic gags from
Well, they
the
send
slave
Hermes-
mining paradise.
Yeah, they send Hermes away, right?
Yeah,
and it's here's a
exactly,
Hermes
yeah,
episode,
yeah.
and he's gone.
That was meant to be the original plot. So the original idea for the episode was to have it centered entirely around Hermes and La Barbara in a slave planet,
Right,
On the slave planet.
making it efficient. Yeah.
And then they realize that they don't really have much in the way of what I'm looking for, creativity, if they just have an entire episode of them just in rocks.
Basically, I mean, you can like
You can, and they've done
you can
it.
do it, and like you can dig on like capitalism and everything.
Sure,
And
but
they-
then you've lost the major cast, right?
Yes.
There's no
Well,
Fry,
you
there's
can-
no Ben, there's no Leela.
It's easy to drag them in with it.
Well,
They
they
all go on.
They
holiday.
obviously went the other way, and they made that the B plot, and then just extended that out to
Yeah.
kind of focus on what is Hermes' job? What does he actually fucking
Sure,
do?
and the whole world building aspect of what is the central bureaucracy and
yeah.
how does it work and why is it so torturous to interact with.
I had a lot more fun on this episode than I remembered. This really hit me. I just really thoroughly
You really
enjoyed
had a
this
good time?
episode. I had a good time.
That might be the rum, but
It could be.
Could be the rum.
And it could be because the first time I listened to it was 1 a.m. last night.
you pre-watched it.
We watched it.
I always rewatch it.
Oh, do you?
I watched the episode 3 times.
Oh my
I think like about this episode, there's some great Zoidberg stuff from beginning to end.
Little bits.
little
Yeah.
bits where he's like, they're playing poker and it's like, let the dice do the talking.
Yeah.
to the very end.
Don't hurt him. He's my best friend. And then he just shoves him on the ground.
Zoidberg gets away with not being utilized that much in an episode because you find this is something that Amy suffers from a lot, is that she's really just fed a couple of lines which generally tends to be exposition.
Yeah.
She has a
Whereas-
great line in this
Yes.
episode,
but she tends to really get pushed aside and you often forget she's even in the episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Whereas Zoidberg, you only need to feed him a couple of lines and they're generally gold.
Yeah. They're gold because
Serious-
you're laughing at them. Pretty
Serious
hard.
stern Zoidberg is the best.
Yeah, when he's gets down to business.
I have a good claw.
Good
What is it
of
called?
course.
Three humans and
3 human females.
and the king who's trying to cut himself or something.
It's like
Stab himself.
performing neural surgery on
That's
himself. That line with Amy that I mentioned, I'd say it's almost the best line in the episode. So they're deciding that they have to go and get Bender back, his brain back
Yeah.
from this central bureaucracy in there. They're at that point where like, yes, we're all going to do this plan. And she just says, why? And no one has an answer for why they need obnoxious, horrible Bender back.
Well, it's followed by those arguments aside, we're doing
We're
it
doing it
anyway.
anyway. This is like plot, that reason aside, the plot has to continue.
Yeah.
Well, I think about because they were having poker with Leela's old cryogenic workmates.
Yeah.
For some reason, which was fantastic. You just get to have those guys back, like
Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
and Ipsy, which is his boss, who finally fires her.
Yes.
Because in the Powered episode, obviously that's never rectified, and he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Well, you haven't been to work in 2 years." She's like, "Yeah, fair enough." But it's kind of telling that they're clearly going to beat the living shit out of Bender because he's been cheating poker through X-ray glasses.
Yeah.
And they follow him. Leela and Fry make no attempts to move.
No, they just
They
let it
don't
happen.
help their friend.
He gets what he deserves. He was cheating them as well, okay?
And also, my next question is, how hard must it be to beat up a robot?
I know, they tear his
Pretty hard,
limbs
yeah,
off.
You
yeah.
don't hurt your hand.
I thought they would just pushed him down and pulled him apart and then tore up the room and threw it.
Then I think, Bender's strong enough to go through a metal wall, which we see.
That
Yeah,
is
he does just
true,
walk
yeah.
through it, yeah. But they do get around that by just having it off screen
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. This has a line that I think always stuck with me as a child. I think it always seemed to come up. Even I saw a short film in university, and someone said this. They were upstairs, and someone said, "Do a flip."
Yes.
To someone obviously going to jump. That line, did that really start here, or has that been always a popular? Do
I
a
think that's
flip?
been a trope for a while.
Has it been?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Futurama invented it.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
You could be wrong, but that line
But
has
you've
stuck
heard it
with
in
me.
the wild, right?
Yeah, I
It
hear
feels
that
like
all the
2000's a
time.
bit too late for that to crop up. Surely that was
Surely,
around
but
in the 90s somewhere.
Whenever someone is up in a high thing, someone will say, do a flip.
flip, right,
It
yeah.
is
Or just
It is
jump.
scripture. Yeah, jump, do a flip.
How long has jetty jumping been a thing? Is jetty jumping that term? Is that around outside of Australia, or is that an
I
Australian
feel like it
thing?
sounds particularly stupidly Australian, doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For international
To co-
audiences, when you have a jetty or even a bridge,
A
a pier, people will go on it and jump off it into the water, doing flips and such.
Yeah, and in Australia, people are.
It's illegal,
foolish,
by the way.
Yeah,
It's
it is
quite
highly
illegal.
illegal.
Yeah.
Are foolish enough to do it often enough that it has a name: jetty jumping.
Yes.
Um,
A lot of people break their backs.
See, it's
Yeah.
the fifth best Australian pastime.
behind drinking, and drinking.
Barbecuing.
Oh,
while
yeah,
drunk.
Oh yeah.
Drinking at a barbecue.
What do we think doesn't work? I'll go. Mine's very particular. It's just I get hung up on very specific jokes that I think get explained too much, and it could just be an extra line or extra word that I think doesn't need to be there. And I've watched it more in movies lately where I feel like the joke can survive without there even needing to be dialogue. My favorite joke in it, which is where Ben is talking some smack about Morgan Proctor. Everyone's like, oh, don't say anything. And he reaches behind him and goes, what, is she behind me? And then you just hear, no, I'm in front of you. And the camera pans. All I wished was that she just said no. And then the camera pans.
And there she is.
And you just see her. And there's just an awkward moment.
She doesn't have to say, no, I'm in front of you.
Yeah, there's a lot that
It's a bit nitpicky, isn't he?
It's a bit nitpicky, which shows you how much I like the episode.
Yeah,
Alternatively,
for sure.
like, she doesn't say it, they pan over, and then Bender's eyes slowly zoom in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I would say, like, Bender has some great stuff. I love it when he has his walking professor story.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what
The fact that he's walking the professor at all
'cause
is
his
really
job
nice.
now is to look after the professor full time.
Is to look after he's to organise his bodily functions,
Yes.
which is a full-time job.
Yeah. But like his story is he was walking the professor. Someone said that he stole their handbag. He threw the professor at them,
And then a handbag
and
that
then
he
a handbag
found.
that he found on the ground. It was the best, and he's covered in mud and leaves.
twigs
It looks
and
like he had
stuff.
the worst time ever.
I wanted to go through.
Fantastic gag.
You skipped ahead to things you don't like, but there was so many little moments in this that I really,
true.
really liked.
I'm getting to the bad before we
Oh, we're
then...
doing just doing it the other way around.
Okay,
We're doing it the other way
okay.
around.
And on a positive note,
Okay, that's a good idea.
Do it for the listeners.
Yeah, just keep them listening. Go, oh, whoa. They changed the format in this episode.
What did you
Keeping it
hate?
fresh.
What did you despise?
Well, you see, I wouldn't be doing this podcast if I despised Futurama.
What did you want to just pull the film reel out and snip out?
None of it. It's good.
I would
It's
say
good.
film reel.
I just want more Hermes.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you get a Hermes Center episode, but then it's also you get a lot of Bender focus and like that whole deal with Fry and the new bureaucrat in the office.
It goes
And
into
that-
Hermes' world without dealing with Hermes as much.
Yeah, it splits it into two, and we could have episodes with both. I don't see
Sure,
why
yeah.
we couldn't
I
have.
felt it worked. I mean, I wasn't. It's kind of funny because Hermes becomes the doorway. The fact that it's a Hermes-centered episode becomes a doorway to look into an extra part of the Futurama world, which is the center of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And how that works. And then we just get that nice little world building. And they obviously still wanted to keep what was their B story, which was originally meant to be their A story.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice in that they still relate to each other.
That's the thing. That's the thing that saves it, because it was like if it didn't, it would have been like walking that borderline between why are you spending so much time with something that's nothing to do with Hermes and all that.
Yeah.
We always go back to Fear of a Bot Planet. Well, I do anyway. 'Cause I just hated that episode. Which is, in fact, I think Fear would probably be our least favorite episode so far.
Yeah, I think so.
It was just one of those episodes where they started with the Blurns ball angle, which had no further effect on the remainder of the episode, and just kind of cut time away from what could have been a more stronger kind of plot.
Yeah, everything ties up in this, and the plot kind of keeps advancing, and you kind of see how all the pieces influence each other, so that the poker game leads to the beating up, which leads to the failing of the inspection, which leads to the suicide attempt, which leads to the going on holiday, which leads to the replacement. It has like a steady logic that maintains throughout the episode.
But I feel like the poker game could have had some futuristic element to it rather than the glasses.
Oh yeah, it's instead of just poker,
it's just
right?
poker. Like I would have liked. Imagine like Bender feeds out all these cards, but he can change the cards. So
Yeah, I thought he was stacking the deck because he was using his mouth.
But it's
to...
like imagine if all the deck was like a hologram. So it's like you look at you've got 4 aces, and you look away, you look back, and you've got like 1, and the rest is shit. You're like, hey, what the hell? And
He's hacking the cards.
He's hacking the cards.
That would be
It's that
really
thing
fun.
of it's that thing of sci-fi, isn't it? Where you're wondering 1,000 years have passed. How much would they actually have retained of archaic practices?
Yeah.
Because you see, they're still wearing a ties. In 1,000 years, will ties be a thing? Oh, they're still even will cars even resemble cars? Or will we be riding?
Bender even has his poker visor, which comes out of his head.
It's a good gag, but it's like Futurama loves taking time to be like to take something from the past and upgrade it in the
think
future.
about
in
the
some
name.
I would have
shitty
liked
way.
that with poker, actually.
Like
I
the
would've
name
liked that.
plaques, where that just changes through Morgan just dipping her little badge onto the name plaque, and it changes from Hermes to Morgan Proctor.
Yeah.
Just through a tap, which is what we have. It's Apple Pay in the future.
Yeah.
But for a useless thing like a name tag, I really like, speaking of that, is the desk that 1.0 bureaucrat has. It's a biplane desk. It's really low tech.
I don't know why. And like when they enter, they look up and they can see him. He's actually just flying around.
Yeah.
he just flies around up there
on his desk.
And
It's
apparently no
well
one ever
timed.
sees him.
No one ever sees
Like,
it.
oh, he's here.
He's come down to our level.
It's like, what is he doing all day?
I do love how there's clouds up there as well.
Yeah, it's massive.
It goes
that
high.
was a symptom of the writers saying, make it bigger.
Yeah.
Because it kept coming back from Rough Draft Studios, and they're like, no, we want it to be bigger. No, we need it to be bigger. Make that room bigger. So eventually there's like, fuck it, clouds.
Yeah, it's a quick, huge shorthand for like, it's really tall, guys.
Incorporate
its own
3D
atmosphere.
animation.
Rains.
It tickles me that the bureaucrat's mode of transport is a hover scooter that just goes
It's a slow
snail's
mobile.
pace.
Yeah.
And everyone apparently uses it.
Crashes into the
Boxes,
cardboard
and there's
boxes.
just like a little. as he
Which just
knocks
makes
into
me think
them.
of Austin Powers.
Yes.
Yes, the steamroller.
Steamroller.
Yeah.
But like,
He even has time to like give them advice and directions before he crashes.
Yeah.
Well, he's a lowly 39.
He's
So
a
he's
lowly
less than
39.
Hermes. Like, no, he's only 40. Either way, he's less.
Yeah, he's less. Another thing I like is when they're doing locker room inspection and they see Bender's locker who has a screw in it. I'm assuming the gag
It's a
is
nut. Yeah.
a nut. Sometimes you just got a nut, or sometimes you
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
screw.
something a little bit.
something in that.
Just as he gets lonely.
Yes.
I like wondering how exactly does he use it? What is a Bender's form
Screws it on.
on his antenna?
Maybe
Maybe.
interferes with him and it kind of gets him off a little bit.
Well, they have a thing later about them getting high, don't they? With
Oh, we've
electricity.
already had them getting high.
Do
Yeah, that already
robots
happens,
ejaculate?
Oil or something.
Oil,
yeah, maybe.
definitely.
Maybe.
Hydraulic fluid, I'm assuming.
Possibly.
Because they need alcohol to fuel themselves. So what comes out?
There is also there's robosexuality
Vegemite.
later as well.
Isn't Vegemite the byproduct of when you're making beer? That's technically how
It's
they
yeast,
made it.
yeah.
Yeast.
Ugh.
It's a yeast
Yeah. So
extract
all the
paste.
black sludge. It's like, let's eat this.
Just eat that. It's full of salt.
We're discovering more of Bender. He has a slot on the back of his head.
Where
Yes.
his brain is. And it takes floppy disks.
Yes.
Which is
I
I
very
love
nice.
that has survived for over 1,000 years. It disappeared over the last 10 years now, and then just made a raging comeback in the year 3000.
Yeah, they must be like super dense storage, right?
Oh,
Otherwise it doesn't
definitely.
make
Yeah,
any
yeah.
sense.
I mean, like
2 terabyte floppy disk.
you could probably do a floppy disk now, like with the size of it, and get like at least a few gig. Like,
Yeah, if it was the same density as like
Yeah,
an SD
definitely.
card or something.
Yeah.
We seem to be sort of on things we like already. So I really like how spectacularly filthy Fry is. So he has a cap full of yogurt. Oh, yogurt.
I was
depending-
about to.
that used to be milk.
yeah.
And time makes fools of us all. And also in his apartment, there's a giant spider web with an owl
They're
stuck in it.
They're the pests of
Yeah.
New York.
Yes, of
Yes.
course.
They were
Yeah,
brought in to get rid of the rats. They did that too well, and now there's just an abundance of owls in the city.
And his table is also his bed,
bed,
and it's covered
ah.
in milk and food, and yeah, there's just a really nice kind of running
Yeah,
visual
yeah, it
thing
is
with
nice.
how spectacular his
And
his slobbery
and
is.
then Bender
does
brings him
Fry-
in candle of earwax
Yes, so
to
typical.
add to the filth of his room.
Earwax is like the size it could fit into the palm of your hand
Yes.
and weigh your hand down.
He has
That
some very big
wax
ears.
looks dense.
Fry is good and pretty enjoyable. This and like he basically just says that like I did it because I'm desperate. I'm sleeping with the bureaucrat, which I quite liked. He's open. He's honest.
I have to point out my favorite line of the entire episode is knowing that Fry was unaware that Hermes is Jamaican. Fry thinks that Hermes is an out-of-space potato man.
Such a good line. We wouldn't know because like Amy's from Mars and you couldn't tell.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not native.
No, not
Marsican.
native.
A Marsican?
Yeah, but
I like the fun little reference in the Central Bureaucracy where they're sneaking through the halls and there's just the Dungeons and Dragons beholder there
Yeah.
that they have to sneak past, and then it turns out he just works there.
Please don't tell my supervisor I was sleeping.
And on Zoidberg as well, we were talking about how he gets little bits, like he gets the very last seconds of this episode
just cut him
to do
off.
one line of a song, and then he realizes the credits have cut him
Yeah.
off. He actually is aware
Yeah.
he's run out of time.
Or
Poor
just
guy.
the crew just walked away.
Yeah,
They just
yeah,
didn't care.
I do like how
don't.
like on that prison planet and under their like logo it's like recommended by Dr.
Zoidberg,
Zoidberg.
it's engraved onto
Yeah.
that planet's
I feel like,
surface.
it's like, is everyone there a patient of Dr. Zoidberg?
Well,
Yeah.
the Australian man
Yeah.
is.
He says, "I don't know why I keep going to it."
I feel like they have tracked out Dr. Zoidberg for his reputation as being like having customers who can't go to a real doctor.
Yeah.
So if these people disappear, they think Zoidberg probably just killed him.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I forgot what kind of doctor he is. He's a surgeon.
yeah.
Yes.
He's a surgeon.
Yeah. Despite his doctorate being in art history, he's a surgeon. Yeah.
The last time we saw him do surgery, it's implied he decapitates fries.
Yes.
Also, we have to go on to the song. So this,
we do.
Yeah, this brings back Ken Keeler, who was a writer, obviously, for Futurama, but he is an Emmy Award-winning writer for songs. That he is, so he's won 2 Emmys for The Simpsons because he's actually responsible for the lyrics and music for
Things
a lot of
like
the songs.
We Put the Spring in Springfield and stuff like that.
So we've seen him up until this point. I'm pretty sure the only musical number we've had is from Hell is Other Robots.
Yep. Yeah, the fiddling song.
The Fiddly Fiddler. Now we have, don't know what it'll be called.
Sometimes you gotta
When
do what
push
you
on
love.
the shove, you got to do what you love, even if
In
it's not a
brackets.
good idea.
Even if it's not a good idea.
Lovely little reggae flavour.
Yeah, I really like the animation through that part as well. The way he's juggling all the capsules.
Yeah.
There's one where he's holding them in like a line between his hands, and like,
He's so quick, he can flick it up
he
and
can
hold it.
flick a new one up and just kind of keep them airborne while he does it
Yeah.
in a line.
I will say that, like, the number one bureaucrat has some decent taste. For musical, it's like, hit me a beat. You think it'd be something...
Requisition me a beat.
Requisition. It would, like, one...
He doesn't fill out any forms.
To be fair,
does he?
one, he didn't fill out a form, so yeah. Like that's... He should be demoted for that. But a Jamaican beat, I would have thought something more boring would have came out. But for the sake of the episode, sake of the song, you need something with a bit of flair.
Although it brings up the question, who's going to demote him?
That is true.
0.5? I don't know.
Yeah, well, Hermes does say that 35 is the 35 best.
Yeah, so they can't
So
really be anything above
him. So that's his
Is there
thing.
another one, though? Is there only one of a number?
There
Is
must
this-
be.
Is this how it works?
To work out that there's only 35 above him. Has to be.
He just says it's the 35th best rank.
Yeah, the
It's
35th. So, anyway,
best
so there could be
grade.
lots of 35th.
Yeah. I don't
And they
think
just
it
must be
means...
same level?
Yeah. There will be people
yeah.
on the same level. I mean, you don't ever see other 35s, but...
Yeah, because I feel like all the higher bureaucrats would just be in the facility, and all the lower ones, like if Hermes would be like a 250 working at Planet Express.
Of total
Of
bureaucrats.
total,
Yeah.
if they were
If
like
that, we were like
yeah,
2,000
yeah,
million
some
or
insane number.
Did you notice that Hermes wears a limbo outfit underneath his suit?
Yeah.
I like
So
to
when he
think
tears his shirt off, he's wearing a limbo outfit.
Underneath his suit, he is either always wearing a limbo suit or Speedos.
Yes,
Or probably both.
both.
Yeah.
Yes,
Ready
That's
for
his-
all occasions.
Yeah, I mean, that's his second love, right? Isn't it? Behind bureaucracy is limbo. There's always some kind of limbo reference.
Yeah.
He's an Olympic limbo champion.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, what year did they introduce limbo to the Olympics?
A Flight to Remember.
yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
He got
I'll
a
do
kid-
it for that little boy who's limboing up in heaven now.
He got a kid killed for it.
To get limbo.
The kid tries to
was like, I
the kid
wanna
tries to
limbo just
emulate
like
him.
you, and he broke his spine and
So
died.
he broke his spine to death.
Right, yeah.
He limboed to death.
I haven't seen that episode in a while.
That's why Hermes retired.
Yeah.
He retired because he killed a boy.
And
He's too
went to
much-
his
yeah.
second love.
Except before this, I think the last time he had limboed was underneath the stove, and then Leela popped the thing.
He
Popped the trash can.
Though he didn't get into Speedos that time.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. So he broke his oath.
Doesn't he mention the Olympics in this one? He says that's as low as a limbo bar. Bar set as low
Carnival.
As at a carnival.
Yeah,
There's nothing lower than
And that's as low as it goes.
Yeah. Nothing's lower than a limbo at a carnival
That is true.
because it's freaky.
And they managed to squeeze his little limbo in so he can get under the tubes.
The tubes.
So I had the effect of misremembering a quote quite extravagantly.
Oh.
When Bender finally gets a chip put back in his head, he says, "I'm Bender baby, please insert liquor."
Yeah.
Yes.
I had always remembered it as, "I'm Bender baby, please insert licking."
Everyone knows how much Bender loves licking.
Which
Loves a
still
good
made
lick.
sense in my head. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Bender would take a licking, whatever that means.
Keeps on kicking.
Takes a licking. Isn't that like a you got beat up kind of
Yeah.
thing? Yeah.
That, or I always just put it as a sexual Bender.
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
the actual line makes more sense though.
I would very much agree.
Well, that's one of those things where it's like you see it as a kid and you misinterpret it. You don't realize for ages. That's like in The Simpsons, in when Homer changes his name to Max Power. Homer would say, "Strap yourself in and feel the G's." I always thought it was "strap yourself in and feel the cheese."
That's what I was.
and I was like,
thought it
that is
cheese.
very nasty.
Because it's
like,
still
damn.
like when Marge is like, ew,
Yeah,
or
which is
Lisa,
like,
I'm like,
oh.
yeah, that still makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
And then
Feel
after
the
a while, I'm like,
cheese.
oh, I'm an idiot. Why did I think that? Yeah.
Feel the G's.
Feel that cheese.
I'm feeling them.
I guess let's get to the vote.
Vote time.
So we're putting this up against Put Your Head on My Shoulders.
Tough one. What do you think, guys?
It doesn't have a song.
That
so
is very true.
I mean, look, this could be the spiced rum talking, although I'd like to think it's sufficiently flushed out of my system by now.
Jamaican kind of bias from
Yeah,
the rum. Yeah.
It's hard to tell because I watched it and it was 1 a.m. I've watched it again and I'm slightly tipsy, but I just really have a gravitation towards this episode.
Is it the Hermes factor?
Look,
Hermes is so adorable?
Yeah, that
Isn't he
might
sweet?
have. Yeah,
I love these. I really enjoyed the episodes that take a risk and focus on either a singular character or a relationship between two people.
Well, they're both that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
one is one and one is the other. So
And you know, a lot of external factors. We get a song, so I've got Ken Keeler's involvement, who is one of my favorite writers on Futurama so far. We get the Australian Man, so I get a cameo that I quite enjoy. We're building on that mythology of Futurama in the center of bureaucracy.
it's got a sex scene.
Got a dirty boy.
Dirty boy.
Dirty boy. Yeah, look, my vote
Please
is
take
going
that
to
out
be
of context.
cast towards how Hermes Requisitioned his groove back. And I will say, I know someone mentioned, I can't remember who we're talking to, saying, oh, it just seems like, I think you may have said this, Phil, was saying it just seems like now we're always going for the newer episode.
I mean, I think there's a when you do a gauntlet like this where you constantly put a new one up against the last favourite, there's always going to be that thing of, well, we just watched this and we enjoyed it, so it feels really good to us.
It feels like, I think, for anyone out there that does that same feeling, I think you're going to get angry more so as we go by, because now we're getting into the gold of Futurama.
Yeah, there's also,
I think that's going to be happening constantly now.
Yeah, there's also that effect of they improve, right?
Yeah.
The more you work on a show, the longer you put it together, you kind of work out what works and you grow through the writing and exploration of the show. And there's a lot more good stuff to come.
We've got Mother's Day coming up, we've got Poplars coming up, and that's not even getting to episodes like Jurassic Bark and The Sting.
Well, Jurassic Bark, I think, is probably the fans' favourite episode.
Or
It's
Roswell That Ends Well
Sure.
is up there.
The one that I see most, because I hang around the Futurama Reddit a little bit, Jurassic Bark is referenced all the time. Everybody talks about it. So it's like, even people who aren't kind of regulars on the Reddit will pop up and be like, I just watched this and I bawled my eyes out, oh my god, and then I forgot how sad it was. Like, constant, at least once a week someone is like, Jurassic Bark, it makes me feel so yeah, I think that this is the golden age, like you say. There's all these episodes.
What's going to be really intriguing is once we get past the original run, I haven't watched any of the newer episodes. This is what excites me about this podcast, is that
Professional.
Oh, I've got a media man. I'll have to call him back. Sorry, Tony.
We're podcasting.
Tony, what was I saying? Yeah, once we get into season 6 when it runs on the Comedy Central, I haven't watched a full episode of that run. So I
have, but not for a long time. Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see if once we get into those episodes in 5 years' time, will any of those top the original series? Will we vote for any of those over whatever we deem to be the best of the original run?
Don't know. We'll have to, have to wait when we get there and find out.
That's your vote for this
what's
episode?
yours?
Yep.
It's a tough one. This episode could have been better. I feel like I would have liked a different, more futuristic poker gag. But saying that, yes, I liked more focused episodes where it kind of sticks to one story. And this episode is kind of split between Hermes going off, but still in his world back at the Planet Express headquarters and dealing with Fry's like affair with the new bureaucrat. I like the balance between the two. You can stuff up and kind of ruin your whole episode by doing two stories.
Yeah.
But there's some great stuff in it. It's funny. They balance both. So I think I might go with this one.
Sure.
And plus because there's just so many lines that I got stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Do a flip or please insert girder or the song at the end. So much stuff that like
Or just the why.
Yeah.
Why
stuff.
recover Bender?
The song has not left my head all day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly. I have the factor of put your head on my shoulders. I've actually voted a couple of episodes over that one,
Right.
but it didn't actually make it through you guys kind of like of the other episodes of that episode over the ones that I voted over it. That made no sense, but I think you know what I'm getting at. So for me, that isn't one of the strongest. It's strong, but it's not one of the strongest episodes of the last kind of 5. So this one, when I was writing my notes during the episode, like there's dozens of lines and sight gags and stuff that I wrote down. I really enjoyed it. I love Hermes, so I'm going to say let's get Hermes to the top.
Good.
Let's
Hermes
let
is the
him
winner.
have his groove.
Yeah.
We have our groove back.
He's
We've got our groove
requisitioned it
back.
and we've stamped it 5 times.
And I have to say that to me was just a lovely little kernel presented in the first 20 seconds. We see that 5 stamps. 5 stamps is how
Population?
much
5.
Hermes, Stampytown.
Stampytown.
Yeah.
And he does it 5 times. And at the end, we see what
callback.
undoes Morgan is 4 stamps. If you look at that paper, she's only stamped it 4 times, and it's
I love
just,
his flair as well.
Yeah,
When
the Hermes flair.
Hermes flair, when he can flip the stamp around.
Yeah.
Hermes is a very agile creature.
He
Yes.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
He's stylish
yeah.
and agile, and
But he's a
also-
bureaucrat.
Yeah, he's great. He's got his own kind of internal contradictions.
He's a Jamaican limboing bureaucrat.
Yes.
Yes.
I would
Potato
love to,
man.
Yeah.
Potato man.
I'd love it when they came up with a concept for him in the writer's room. He's a great kind of set of contradictions. Like,
For Dexter Conrad.
yes, it's the idea that Jamaicans are like freewheeling and don't care and let anything go, and he's like completely straight down the line, procedure. But he's got those aspects of Jamaican culture in him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet something of something.
Now we need to go into a voice. I don't know if we have done Hermes. I'm sure we've done Hermes.
Surely we can do Australian man.
Australia. Let's do Australian man.
If we can't do Australian man,
Are we doing just us, or are we doing John DiMaggio doing Australian? We have to do Australian man.
He's got a really broad accent, doesn't he?
what's a line from it?
Well, I've got to stop going to him.
Yes.
I don't know why I go to him, mate. Shh. Pushing these empty carts is the closest
Yeah,
thing we
that's
get
what I
to a
was thinking.
break.
It's the closest thing we get to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing, mate? Pushing these empty carts is the closest thing we get to sleeping around here. Ugh.
I think we did all right.
Yeah, I think so. I think we were a natural advantage.
Natural,
Yeah.
But I think you might win that one, Sean.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it was good.
What they don't know is we're actually American podcasters.
How about that, guys?
I think we just lost any American podcasters we had.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with this for the rest of the podcast, really. But I'll accept that trophy.
Good. Yeah, it's really enormous trophy.
It's huge.
Huge.
It's huge. It is.
And I know trophies.
So if you listen to this in 10 years' time,
We're all dead.
we're all dead anyway.
We stopped.
You know
at
why.
We stopped at season 4. We never got past it.
Never got past it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to Shut Up and Take My Podcast. Look, if you love what we're doing, if you really do appreciate all the semi-hard work that we've been doing,
Just get in touch with us.
Yeah.
get in touch with us. Contact babybeardmedia@gmail.com. Honestly, we haven't said this yet, but it really goes a long way. Go onto iTunes, and if you like us, review us, rate
Yeah,
us.
why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
If you want to give us a 5 stars, whatever, you just because at the moment we don't get an average rating. If we get enough reviews, we get an average rating.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it goes a long way to helping us.
I mean, I'd like an above average rating, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that'll be fine.
but adequate above.
Yeah. We're
And
also on YouTube now, on our podcast.
YouTube,
are getting
Twitter.
out there.
Twitter is a great place to go if you just want to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
Anything new we pop up just pops up on Twitter. So
Instagram,
Awesome.
Instagram, a lot of the fun loving. If you like cats, we got cats.
Yeah. Behind the scenes.
Yeah, if you like our faces, we're on there. If you like faces in
Yeah.
general,
If you
Yeah.
do want to see us and not hear us, that's a good.
and you can try and guess
media
which
format.
of us is which because we all look the same.
we are
Yes.
we are bald beard media.
bald beard. meeting.
Balding bearded media.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have to change the name now.
Sorry. Until next time. Next week we have the Deep South.
Oh, is that where Fry goes? And
That is the lost
Yeehaw!
city of Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta.
So we have to go literally south. Until then, I have been Sean.
I've been Phil.
And I've been James.
And bye-bye.
Bye.
Adios. All right, mates, let's do this.
Ding, 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 ding. I am Bender. Please insert girder.
Need a fan that gives us a running tally?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Or we should just do it ourselves.
We should take some responsibility in our work.
So the one I got is called Chris's Dynamic Compressor.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks. So Chris's Dynamic Compressor.
That's what he's doing in
does the
Sydney.
same thing as. I just think it's funny that early Simpsons
Yeah,
is 7 seasons in. It's kind of ridiculous.
He's cutting it. He's cutting it.
Cutting it.
He's cutting it.
Cutting it.
We've been cut.
Cut. Cut it.